Most High, and being that I don't even care if you're affiliated with any organization, religion, or practice. I'm here to tell you there's a call that's being placed, and it's time for you to go about answering that call. Because in life will have us come to realize that the minute we go about conceptualizing and realizing who we are and how we fit in the grand scheme of things, then we could go about doing what we're supposed to be doing. But in that, we have to come to realize that life, it's more along the note of why do you feel you have to go in a certain direction? Because so many of us, we have no inclination, no sense of direction. We're just like clouds. We're drifting off in the wind. But even the clouds have a purpose. And within that purpose, we need to go about finding our purpose. We just can't be drifting off aimlessly. So the one thing that I come to say, from the days of your youth, you have been instilled with this knowledge. But for some reason, we have gone about putting it away. And in putting it away, we do not go about questioning things anymore. You see, we have become lackadaisical and insensitive to just going about accepting what is being given on to us, as if though people knows what's good for us. But we have to go about realizing the minute we start questioning things, then it brings about understanding. And in bringing about understanding, we get fulfillment out of our journey. The question was posed to me in regards to who do we follow spiritually? And why do we believe we have that inclination that we're following the right energy? But the one thing that I say in this regards is we are all substance of energy. We came from an energy source. Now, when we go about understanding how energy ties in, then we will come to realize energy is only energy. It's the life that we go about giving that energy. Energy could be used for good or it could be used for bad. It could be used for creative or it could be used as a destructive force. But when you go about calling on the divine, let it be that you come pure at heart. Let it be that you surrender. And in surrendering, the divine will speak to you from where you're at in life. We can't hide anything because life already knows our shortcomings. So despite the games that we try to go about thinking that we're playing on others, we can't fool life because we're merely fooling ourselves. But the minute we start to be real with ourselves, then we could go about getting the answers that we need. So in turn, if one goes about seeking a question, seeking answers to a question, and you go about putting the question out into the universe, one or one or two one to two or three things will happen. First, you will get the inclination in a verbal where you will run across somebody that you interact with, a perfect stranger at your job, or something like that. Secondly, you will get a visual of what your question is pertaining to, because the answer will be displayed in a way to go about giving you the answer. But we have to be mindful in that when we ask these questions, the answer is not going to come the way you want it to come. The answer is the answer. And in that, we have to go about making truth with that answer. Because too many times, God is speaking to us, but we can't understand because we have left ourselves at a displacement and feeling that if it doesn't come in this format or that format, then God is not concerned with me. But God is concerned with all his creation, even though we take it upon ourselves to go about putting ourselves first, because we have it backwards. God first in everything that you do, so that you may go about seeking understanding. But the minute you try to go about putting yourself before God, you will not receive. But one thing I come to say in this regards, the ego is a tricky, finicky little beast. It will have you believe that you are the captain of this ship. But don't believe that lie, because it's only a deception meant to go about misleading you. The things that we must practice is being humble. And in being humble, you will receive the answer that you are so diligently seeking after. Remember, like what I said, you look at a child. A child would ask you 1,000 whys. Let it be the curiosity. Let it just be the child's invoking nature of wanting to get understanding. Or it could just be part of our developmental stage. But somewhere along the line, we have lost our way. We do not question why anymore. We are so subtle in accepting what is there. Just because something comes to confront you and offer it as a path, you must question why. People misconstrue the concept in faith and understanding. If one does not have understanding, one cannot go about having faith, because you can't believe in something you don't understand. But the way for you to go about getting that understanding is when you go about seeking the answers. Because all things, question, seeking, or looking, you shall go about finding. So when you go about finding, then it will strengthen your faith. Don't look at life from a perplexing ideology that faith is about walking blind. No, that's not faith. Faith is about having conviction. Faith is about giving it all, because you have come to know that in your deepest and darkest horrid moments, that it was because the divine brought you out of that. It was when nobody else could give you that answer. That's when the divine stepped in. But because he enabled your vision and your understanding to go about growing, that's how your faith developed. Because if we look carefully, we will see that from our infancy stage, we have been trying to go about finding understanding. And in trying to find understanding, we come to realize that certain things is trial and error. They say experience is one's best teacher. But I'm here to tell you, there's a library that you don't have to try. You could just tap in. But in tapping in, there's things that will try to go about propagating themselves as the answer. But that's why I promote self-awareness and self-growth. The truth and the lie could never be friends. Meaning that the minute you go about coming to know yourself to the best of your ability, because we're forever changing, then you will realize some of the things in which goes about making you unique. And in discovering your uniqueness, you will realize certain things are tolerable, certain things which are not so much favorable, but certain things which will just be stimulating to you. And in finding that stimulation, you will go about starting to understand what really goes about encompassing who you are. Now, the key to it is whatever you believe in, whatever you hold on to, life will come to test that. And in life coming to test that, it will show you if what you believe in is purity, if what you trust in is sacred, or what you're allowing is righteous. And in these tests, temptation will come to show you that if you says to yourself and to others that you're on that path, but the path is of righteousness, temptation will come to go about delivering wickedness, and only to see if you go about succumbing to that wickedness. Because whatever the energy that's around you, it will be promoting whatever it is you're calling to. Now, if what you're calling to is not going about promoting righteousness, you have to stop engaging in that energy that's around you, because it's a deception, it's a trick. But you have to be mindful. Wolves will come in sheep's clothing only to go about fooling you if you allow yourself to be fooled. You see, a lie is only a lie if you believe it. But if you don't believe that lie, then it's just empty words. You see. So many a times, the con man preys on our desires, our lacking, our wants. And in preying on our desires and our wants, it goes about leaving us estranged, because we have not come to look at ourselves. And then not looking at ourselves and then not dissecting our internal turmoils that we deal with on a day-to-day basis, we begin to come from a place of lacking. And then coming from that place of lacking, it's almost as if though we got a billboard on our head. This is what I need the most. And one thing about life is a game of opportunity and chances. Remember I told you, life is going to come test everything about you unless you start cleaning up what needs to be cleaned up. Because when we don't, there's going to be all kind of answers that come. And a lot of these answers that come in a quick blink of an eye could resolve all your issues. Those are worthlessness. The answers you seek, it takes time to go about building. Success does not come in an overnight thing. So if the energy that you are engaging in is of mediocrity, and in that if we do this, this will happen, that's not how life works. Because life works on a building stage. It has to go about helping you realize by you developing certain steps. It's promoting growth for 2 or 3 steps in which you cannot go about envisioning. Because the spirit sees far and beyond. But if the energy that you're playing with is for the here and now, my suggestion is you leave that alone. And in leaving that alone, that will help you. Because you will have rid yourself from worthlessness. Because too many times, mankind has fallen victim and prey to worthlessness. They feel so in awe because there's not an intervention, but there's an interaction with the spiritual side. But not all spirits are righteous. And too many times, we as human beings have found that out the hard way. Because of our lacking desires to want to get things done in the blink of an eye. But if we would just look at nature and go about applying nature's law to our life, then we wouldn't fall victim. But we want to go about sidestepping nature's law. We don't want to wait the duration of time that we're supposed to go about waiting. We don't want to take the developmental stage in becoming what we're supposed to be. You see, everybody want to be the next superstar. But how many of us is laboring away? How many of us is doing what it takes? And what it takes, have you asked yourself, I'm willing to pay that price? Because there's a price to pay for everything in life. Anything that comes at a pace which is not promoting understanding, but it wants to go about substituting its actions, that is not worth it. And I'm here to tell you, leave that alone. Because if you got people in your life that is going about telling you, don't worry about this, don't worry about that, it's a trap. They are merely putting things in place so you can fall flat on your face. So there's a alarm. The call has been placed. Nothing difficult. All you have to do is answer that call. Set yourself free. Give yourself that chance you need. Make it so that you free yourself. Live the best life you can live. Get the best information that you could get so that going forth, you really get to enjoy your life and become that blessing you were meant to be. Now that's my blessing. One.